Hello everyone, you're most welcome to Diamond Clothiers. I know it's been a while here and I hope this tutorial meets your expectation. So if this is the first time you're coming across this channel, kindly subscribe and put on your notification bell. Don't forget to like and comment on all our content to support us as well and let us know how you feel about everything we are doing here. So in today's tutorial, I'll be working on this beautiful style. The fabric I'm working with is the scuba fabric, and to get started I'm going to be working on the upper part, which is the blouse part of the gown, and I'm just going to draw a straight line, which is going to be my starting line. You know, it's an off shoulder dress, so I'm going to take off 5.5 inches, which is going to be the off part. So from that 5.5 inches I'm going to measure 8 inches, which is my shoulder to bust to chest measurements, and then I'm going to take 10 inches, which is my shoulder to bust measurements, and then I'm going to take the full length of the blouse, which is 17 inches. Then I added 1 more inch as the sewing allowance. Then on all these lines I'm going to make it into a straight line. And so going back to the starting line, I'm going to measure 7.5 inches and I'm just going to mark it. And on the chest line, I'm going to be making use of my round bust measurements divided by 4. The round bust measurement I made use of is 33 inches. So divided by 4 plus 1 inch, then I'm just going to connect those two lines into an armhole. And then on the bust line as well, I'm going to take my round bust measurements divided by 4 plus 1 inch, and on the waistline I will be dividing my waist measurement divided by 4 plus 1 inch, which is 8.5, and I'm just going to connect all these lines together. Please know that I'll be using this front part to cut out the back as well, and then the only difference is just going to be the sewing, the zipper allowance rather. So that is that about the front. I'm just going to cut it out and we are done with it. So right now I'll be working on the skirt part, and to get that I'm going to put my tape in the beginning of the fabric. Then I'm going to mark from my waist to my hip. I made use of 10 inches, and then to the length it actually depends on how long you want your skirt to be. You can make it short or 3/4. So what I made use of is 22 inches, then I added 1 inch, which is going to be the joining allowance. So I connected all those lines into a straight line, and on the waist I'm going to take my waist measurement divided by 4, which is 7.5. I added 1 more inch to it as the sewing allowance. Then on the hip I divided my hip measurement by 4, which is 10.5. Then I added 1 more inch to it as the sewing allowance, and I connected the waist to the hip. And on the down part, on the knee length of the skirt, what I did was to add 3 inches to what I have at the waist. So I marked that and I connected it to the hip, and we are literally done. I'll be using the front part of the skirt to also cut out the back part. So what I did was just to add zipper allowance of 1.5 inches and I cut it out. So right here, the next thing we're working on is the blouse, and what I did was to fold my fabric into 4 and note the middle point. That middle point I just used my chalk to mark. So I'm going to open up my fabric and I'm going to draw a vertical and horizontal line. I'm going to draw a straight line across, and the length of my plant is going to be 7.5 inches. It's actually 7 inches, so I'll be using the half inch to join it. And on those 4 lines I'm going to mark my 7.5 inches. I'm sorry, I'm going to make a proper video because I couldn't get the circles to be an accurate circle. It wasn't very straight, although eventually I later worked on it, so I promised to make a better video on that. So on that center point you're going to pick either of the lines you want to work with, and you're just going to connect it as I just did now, and you're going to connect all the other lines into a circle. So I made use of this armhole curve and it didn't give me what I actually needed. So what I did eventually was to mark 7.5 inches all around, and that one worked for me. You can see this is actually looking like glove. It's looking like an art, so it didn't work out. So eventually I used my tape to measure 7.5 inches all around, and that gave me a better result. So that's what I'm just going to do all around for now. So please note, when you get to that circle, that half circle that we made earlier, that is where you will continue making your 7.5 inches or whatever length you want your plants to be. Please take note of that. So that is how you are going to continue. So because this side wasn't giving me what I wanted, it wasn't a perfect circle, so I had to clean it up and just work with 7.5 inches all around. So after I was done, this was what I have. I've exhausted my fabric at this point, and then what I did was just to cut it out. So after cutting, when I got to the center parts on that place where I have my half circle, so that's where I'm going to cut it open, and we are literally done. Don't worry, I'm going to make a more perfect and explanatory video. Don't cut it around the way I'm doing it right here. You have to cut on a straight line, just straight line. And this is what we have. So now I've gone ahead to join both the front and the back of the upper part of the blouse part of the top. I've gone ahead to join it together, and I'm going to cut the flange that I'll be using for the upper part. So I'm going to take my round shoulder measurement from one shoulder to the other, like take the measurement around my upper bodies, and I'm just going to join it together, leaving the armhole aside, so I'm going to do that on my sewing machine. And for the skirts, I've also joined both the front and the back together. And for the back, I measured 9 inches from the waist downwards for my zipper allowance, and I just left that side open, and this is the flounce that I'll be working with as well. So to work on the flounce, it actually depends on how you want to attach it to the skirts. You can decide to just sew it inside the hemline, the allowance that you left by the side, but that was not what I did. I walked very close to that side. I've already joined the skirts, and for that down part, I divided my flounce into two, and I notched the side, and then that side I'm going to connect it to one of the sides of the skirt. I hope you understand what I'm trying to do. And the other part, I'm just going to crossed it across, and then on the other side, on the left side of my skirt, I went up by 10 inches, and then I just gave it that slant. Some people might decide to cut it out, but I don't want any part of my body to be exposed, so I didn't cut it out. So I just walked on it like that, and of course it's covered. So when I was done, this is what I have. You can see that side that I notch. So this is what I have when I was done. And then the remaining part of the flounce, I just connected it to into the waistline. I hope you understand what I'm trying to do. Anyways, you're going to see the outcome and you see what it looks like. So I connected it into the waistline, and this is what it looks like. And so the next thing for me to do is just to connect both the blouse and the skirt together. We have to join it on the waist right now. So before joining, just want to show you that for the flowers, I added a pleat to the front and the back, and after adding it, I realized that you can actually style it this way and use your brooch to just make it more stylish. And also for the armhole, I made use of buyers to aim it so it can have a neat finishing, and we are done with that. So what I'm going to do is to connect it to the skirt, attach my zipper, and we are done. So this is what we have after we are done. Thank you for staying to the end of this tutorial. Don't forget to subscribe to this channel, like all our content, drop a comment for us on how we can improve, and also put on your notification bell as well. Thank you, and see you in my next video.